Greetings, I'm Melissa and welcome to Realistic Pencil Drawing. In this tutorial, you will learn how to draw realistic water droplets. To begin, take a pencil and outline some water droplets. I will draw various shapes and sizes to show you how you can draw them too. I'm using Strathmore toned gray paper and a 2B pencil. Water droplets can be oval, round, irregular, or trickling downwards. For fun, I've added a heart-shaped one too. Notice how I'm curving the water drops that appear to be trickling. The bottom of them will appear wider and full of water. Don't forget to keep your outlines light by not giving too much pressure. Let's begin by adding the main highlights on the water droplets using a white charcoal pencil. I'm using a general pencil, but any brand should work. Some of these highlights I'm adding may be toned down later in the drawing. My pencil is sharp so I can draw fine lines. Notice the curve I'm adding at the bottom of the droplet. I'm speeding up the rest of the steps of adding the bright highlights so you will get an idea of how I've added them to the other water drops. The smaller ones may just have one small highlight, while larger ones will include two or more, usually because of their shape and size. The main highlights will be on the left side, as my light source is coming from that direction. This means that the right side will have a cast shadow. The highlights on the right are reflective light that is coming through and bouncing off the water. Let's not forget these small water droplets too. With the same 2B pencil, begin shading with light to medium pressure. We will leave the lighter areas to add a light shade using the white charcoal pencil later. Again, notice how I'm shading the left side with leaving the right side clear. Drawing water droplets can be fun and a good exercise of learning how to draw with light and shadows. The idea of drawing realistic droplets is to make them appear so realistic that they seem like they're running down your page. You can make anything realistic of how and where you place tones and highlight. Many droplets will appear small and round, which is caused by surface tension of water. As raindrops fall, they often lose that rounded shape and form more like a shape of a hamburger bun. You'll see how this is done later on. I had chosen to draw on my highlights first to achieve maximum brightness instead of adding them later in a shaded background. Some highlights may appear brighter or more subtle depending on where they're placed. Now add a darker line next to the cast shadow to the right of the water droplets. This is because the main highlight is coming from the left side, creating a cast shadow to the opposite side. There may still be a fine line on the same side of the highlight, but a darker and stronger one will be on the same side as the shadow. Right now I'm adding the dark thin line and will add the shadows later. I will speed up the rest of the steps so you can see how I'm adding them to each droplet. Using a blending stump, let's blend in the shading I just added. I'm giving a bit of pressure to smooth the shading in. I will make sure to blend around the main highlights. Now to add some lighter highlights using the white charcoal pencil. I'm not pressing down as hard as I had when adding the main highlights. Notice how I'm shading with overlapping a bit into the pencil shading. Next, blend it over with a stump. Adding a bit of shading, overlapping the lighter tones again so I can create a nice transition. I'm adding in the curved highlight again with the white charcoal. I want the water droplet to appear like the water has accumulated at the bottom. Let's add a light cast shadow with the pencil and blend it with a stump. This will make it a bit darker too. Add a thin line down the left side and then make sure the right side is darker. Using the white charcoal pencil, add a small highlight on the cast shadow closest to the water droplet. Tone it down using a blending stump. Now on to the next water droplet. We are doing the same blending steps, adding the lighter side and transitioning them together with a cast shadow. Smaller water droplets can get trickier. The smaller they are, with seeing less visible areas and using our drawing tools. Let's speed this up a bit as we repeat with the remaining water droplets. Remember that some of the highlights on the right will be toned down later. The great thing with using a pencil is that we can always make changes as we see it. This trickling water droplet appears more curved, so more highlights may be added. Again, we want the bottom to appear full of water, and we'll add a lot of lighter white tones in that area. A blending stump, once dirty, is great for adding soft, light gray tones and creating cast shadows. The small round water droplets are classics, which many enjoy drawing. In these final steps, I want to make sure that the left side of the water droplets are dark enough, so I'm going to go back to touch up the darker shadowed areas. This will help to create depth. And then quickly blend them all in using the blending stump. You'll be adding a bit more pressure this time. I will continue to transition the darker tones towards the lighter ones as I want it to appear more gradual. By shading over the darker tones, I can pull them into the lighter ones to create a better transition between them. You may need to work up the area next to the main highlights. You may have different ones that I have as you go through your water droplets, with adding more shading or highlights. I do enjoy drawing water droplets, especially on gray toned paper. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and will subscribe for more.